Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Diet Diaries. I'm here today with a guest, and this has been a long time coming because Paula and I tried to record like 6 weeks ago, and I was having major internet issues. And we're here. We're finally making it happen, and
We
I'm so
did it.
excited.
Yeah.
So I'm here with Paula D. Atkinson. She is a body liberation psychotherapist. And truthfully, I'm just really excited to learn from her today. She has taught a class at GW about the history of diet culture. And I'm just like, can you just give me the syllabus and
I
can we do
know.
a private lesson?
I know.
And works with clients a lot around body image and the way culture and diet culture has impacted, their lives. So thank you for being here. Welcome.
Ooh, thanks. I'm excited to
Yay.
be here.
I'm excited to have you. All right, so let's dive in. I think where we could start is I would love to hear what why is this your focus? Why is this your
Yeah.
passion? Where does that kind of stem from? And we can sort of, let the conversation, go from there.
Yeah. So my own history is a windy road of body stuff and food stuff. So I was born a fat kid. I was just a fat kid. But I was born in the 70s. So the grown-ups they couldn't let it go.
Don't have
They
to deal
could
with you.
not deal. They could
Yeah.
not deal with the fact that my body was just fat. I was born almost 11 pounds. So I just got a lot of non-consensual comments about the fact that my body was fat. And now when I talk to clients about that, I explicitly categorize that as violence. It is a violation.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime a grown-up talks about a kid's body without consent, it is violence.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said that I was a fat kid. I was fat until I was about 16. I started a diet, quote unquote. We'll put that in quotes. And it immediately devolved into just straight up starvation. So I started starving myself at age 16, lost a lot of weight because I was living on, who knows what I was living on, and then started exercising a lot. And I got so much. I love telling this because it sounds like a fiction story, but it's real. I was the homecoming queen. I got the lead in the school play, and I went to homecoming with the quarterback of the football team. So I got
Oh,
so
it's like
much.
you couldn't write that in a movie.
Exactly.
Like,
It's so cheesy, right? Like, yeah, exactly. So to say I got a lot of positive reinforcement is an understatement. Went to college, and and I'm from the Bay Area of California. I just couldn't stop. By then, I was so far gone. So at age 21, which was in 1997, I went to rehab for a year for anorexia. And they did what they could. I write about this in this book that I'm writing. Eating disorder treatment in 1997. Again, they were doing what they can, but like we were so steeped in fat phobia, we were so steeped in fat hatred that clinical interventions were good because I didn't starve to death. But in terms of like my relationship with my body, my relationship with food, my relationship with fatness as a concept was not really touched upon. And then I tried to get away from it as much as I could. I became a mental health professional in the early 2000s. Never wanted to work with people with eating disorders. Oh my God, how terrible. What a terrible idea. And then the universe sort of has other plans, I was given the course Weight and Society at George Washington University by a friend of mine who I'd met through yoga teacher. I'm also a yoga teacher training.
oh, same.
Nice.
Yeah.
And she gave it to me as this sort of like, you could totally teach this. It's basically like how to stay at a healthy weight. That is not what I
That's not what you taught.
No, that is not the course I taught. So I sort of took it and ran. It's right, it's all the universe and her infinite wisdom. Like this lovely woman gave the course to me right at the time that I read the first like Health at Every Size, the first study by Dr. Lindo Bacon and Susie Efframore. And I was like, wait a minute. So I just sort of created this course, and I basically taught all the things I wanted to know more about, which is the history of fat phobia, the history of dieting, the history of the morality of body shape, the intersection of white nationalist Christianity and thinness,
Mhm.
the history of white supremacy and thinness, like all of these things that I was like, I mean, even when I talk about it, I'm kind of drooling. Like, I just want to know, why do we think all of this insane things about something as arbitrary as body shape?
Yeah.
So I basically, my mom always said, you teach what you want to learn. So
Uh-huh.
I went balls to the wall with it. And that's the class I taught. So I taught that for about 10 years. And then,
Okay.
and I was seeing clients, and, eventually it didn't take long for those two things to merge, because I
Yeah.
couldn't treat clients from kind of an old school eating disorder treatment way
Right.
while I was teaching this social
Right.
justice course. Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Oh my God, I have 1,000 questions. And I'm like, well, we only have an hour together, so I need to be very, very, very intentional. Okay, I'm gonna rewind back to
Sure.
something what you shared kind of in your history, right? And you talked about, I was a fat kid, I grew up fat, I starved myself, I lost a ton of weight, I was homecoming queen, went to homecoming with the quarterback football team and lead in the school play. Was that the other one? Okay.
Correct.
Can you remember
Yeah.
what was happening in your brain when you were getting that outside validation and reinforcement, and how
Yeah.
did that impact your internal dialogue and your behavior around food?
It was Am I allowed to swear on your
Yes,
podcast?
totally. Oh my god, I
Okay,
say
good.
fuck all the time.
It was such a mind fuck,
Yeah.
to be honest. And it's interesting because it's so interwoven in my memories. It's so interwoven with my mom, because my mom was livid at the world for what they were doing to me. Like, I do not have an almond mom. I have an almond dad. I do not have an almond mom. So my
Okay.
mom kind and I could tell that she wanted to be like, what's going on? And I was just like, absolutely not. This is amazing. I'm living my life, like, and the facade just grew thicker and the mask just got thicker and thicker and thicker and more glued to my face of
Mhm,
like, this is
mhm,
amazing. I'm having a wonderful time. But, and we can go into this later, what it did that I know now, that I use now, is it lit this spark. It was like a tiny spark in a tinderbox. It lit this spark of seething rage
mhm,
that now I use, and now I love, and now I am deeply devoted to this rage, and I trust her, this rageful part of myself. I trust her. I will follow her to the ends of the earth. I love her so much. But it lit this fire inside of me because I wouldn't let myself think this, but now I know it was there. This knowing of like, I'm the same person I was a year ago. Like, I'm the
mhm,
same bitch.
mhm,
And so the idea that I write this in when I write about this in the book, like, it felt like I had gone on sabbatical and I came back with a tan and everyone was like, "Oh my god, blah blah blah." But inside, I'm the same person. So
mhm,
it just showed to me how fucking shallow everybody is. And
mhm,
I couldn't let myself touch that rage at age 17. Like, what was I
mhm,
going to do, But now, as a loudmouth 50-year-old, menopausal lady, I'm
mhm,
so loud and so rageful and so mad about it, because how dare you? How dare all of you do that to her? You
mhm.
know, it was it
Yeah.
it was truly, when I think about it, I think about like the what, the House of Mirrors, like at
Mhm,
a carnival. That's how it felt.
mhm.
Because like, I didn't know when
Like,
I
which
was
way it goes.
fat. Yeah, yeah, yeah. When I
Yeah.
was fat, I knew how everybody was going to revere me, pretty
Mhm,
much, and it was a little shocking when people like my mom, my grandparents, like, there were people who didn't revere me as
mhm,
just fat, because
mhm,
when you're fat, that's all you get to be. You don't get to be
mhm,
anything else.
mhm,
And so when I was thin, and then all of a sudden people revered me, and all of a sudden, like, men, I got the attention from straight men was so fucking gross, and like,
mhm.
it felt like an acid trip. It was really awful.
Yeah. It's like what you were saying, like, I'm the same person, and how, like,
Yeah.
how dare you treat me differently because I look different, when the
Yeah.
person that I am is the same.
Yeah.
And it's like soul crushing. It's like that nobody cares about the person that you are. They
No.
only care what you look like.
Exactly. Exactly. And as a woman, absolutely.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I think about this, and I think like for me, I did not grow up as a fat kid. I had an average size body, and then I gained weight in my late teen, early college years,
Uh-huh.
and then struggled for a very decade and a half after that. Um, and it's so interesting. Like I think obviously when you growing up and being born and defining and seeing yourself, right, as a fat kid and then losing weight and becoming thin, like, in your teen years versus I
So
was kind
weird.
of the opposite, and I would at
Uh-huh.
the time, I called myself fat. Looking back now, I'm like, "Wow, that was fucking delusional." Um,
Of
right?
course.
But, like, when you grow up watching like, so you and I are 4 years apart, I'm 46, so I grew up
Totally.
basically the same, but I grew up in the age of watching Friends with Fat Monica, right?
Exactly. Oh
And
my
seeing Fat
God.
Monica,
Totally.
who now I rewatched Friends with my son a couple of years ago, and I'm like, she's so not fat.
Horrifying.
Like, she's like, maybe
Horrifying.
she wears like a size 14,
Totally.
but it's like you grow up watching that at what that came on in 14 years old, and you're like, right, that's fat. So then you see yourself in a size
Of
14, and then you're like,
course.
I am fat.
Of course.
And then this is all again is using the word fat as a derogatory term versus
Right.
explaining just using the word fat as a description, blue,
Exactly.
orange, red, green, white,
Tall, tall,
all of
short.
that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, I kind of like lost my train of thought with this, but I for me, when my body changed in that way, and then the reaction that I got from other people,
Yeah.
my parents who were doing the best they could, but were also like, holy shit, what the
Right.
fuck is going on?
Yes.
Guys who I didn't know from a hole in the wall, but are like, well, your stomach rolls over your pants, you're gross, I don't want to hook up with you.
Oh my
It
God.
then changed my behavior,
Of
right?
course.
And the way I felt about myself. So I'm curious,
Yeah.
when you lost weight and became a thin person,
Yeah.
right? Like, do you feel like that changed your behavior and how you moved through the world? I'm just going to
Yeah.
stop there instead of going to a part 2.
Well, I by the time I became the homecoming queen and all that, I was already so far into the eating disorder. Like I was
Mhm.
already starving myself. So I don't think, and I do think the eating disorder, the starvation, the addiction to starvation, if you will, there's so many different ways to say it. And I
Mhm.
don't know if I love that way, but whatever.
Mhm.
I was so far gone. So it's not like I got to like rest and enjoy the fruits of my labor, which is barf. I hate everything I just said, but you know what I mean? Like it's
Yes.
not like I got to, because I was so, and I think the eating disorder helped me deal with the mind fuckery of what the fuck? Why does everybody now treat me like a human? And now
Mhm.
also, and I've heard other fat people who lose weight talk like this too, like, oh wait, is this how you thin people just treat each other? Like I had no
Mhm.
idea that, like,
Mhm.
and so the eating disorder was kind of like a way to cope with the rage,
Mhm.
the bafflement, the insanity of suddenly being treated like a human, having been treated like a subhuman
Right.
my entire life.
Right.
And by then I was gone. Like I like a homecoming queen was, my senior year of high school, obviously. And then by the time I was in college, I was like the only thing I did, and as most good anorexics, I got straight A's and
Mhm.
starved myself and was running like 14 miles a day and all this
Mhm.
horrible,
Mhm.
horrible thing. So,
Right.
I mean, but then when I got out of treatment and I had to gain weight, obviously in treatment, and Dr. Lidowigan talks about this, that like fat phobia is bad for everybody
Mhm.
because the people that have the thing have to be terrified of losing the thing. And
Mhm.
I was terrified of losing the thinness because I had lived through being fat. It's not great.
Yes.
Right. So it was
Right.
like, I had to gain weight so I didn't die. But
Mhm.
then I was also in this constant anxiety of I'm gonna go back there. And
Yes.
I even had, I mean, my mom's mom, my grandmother she was not great. But when I was going away to rehab I was, dying of starvation. She was like, okay, but don't get too big. Okay. I was like, Oh, I can't imagine why I have an eating disorder, lady. And it's not her fault. She was born in
I know.
literally 1906. So,
Yeah.
but still, it was like all of the opinions about this body, all of these ideas
Yes.
and thoughts and comments and opinions, like that's all a violation. It's all a violation.
And we could do like 4 hours because because it's like, it's so, not that it's so obvious, but it's like, right. You talked about your grandma. She says this, don't get too big. I mean, oh my God, what? But also, she
Right.
was born being taught that. She
Exactly.
doesn't know another way of seeing the
Exactly.
world other than that. So it's like, well,
Right.
can you blame her? But
Kind
it's like
kind of.
that, kind of, right?
Yeah. Right.
But that's like, now I can see like how you ended up teaching this course, right? Because it's like,
Yes.
how do
Right.
we
Right.
undo that? It's
Yeah.
like, I get on my soapbox about this a little bit, right? With the boom in Botox and plastic surgery and all
Yeah.
this now. And
Yeah.
women are like, if it makes you happy, do it. If it makes you feel better about yourself, do it.
Sure.
And I'm like, okay. But
And
why does this make you feel better about yourself? You have to
exactly.
dig a little deeper as to where that's
Yes.
coming from. It makes you
Right.
feel better about yourself because you've been told your whole life that you're not allowed to age and women are supposed to
Exactly.
look like this. And is it actually making you happy, or is it making you belong?
Right. And that's right. It's not black and white. It's not
Right.
just if it makes you feel good, do it. It's
Right.
way more
It's
nuanced.
so much more complicated than that.
Exactly.
So, okay, because I want to talk to you about your stance on GLP-1s, but before we
Sure.
go there, and I want to talk about the course, but I'm curious, I want to jump a little bit.
Great.
What is your relationship with food and your body like today, having survived anorexia?
Such a great question. I don't believe in normal, and that's really helpful. I don't think anybody who was raised in the United States of America in the last century has a quote unquote normal relationship with food. I just don't think it's possible. So that was really helpful to just like release that. Now my relationship with my body and food are defined by infinite permission. Infinite permission equals infinite choice. So if I have infinite permission to eat whatever the fuck I want, whenever the fuck I want, I immediately grant myself infinite choice. Because if there's no right and wrong, there's no good and bad. That means I get to actually, if I live on peanut M&Ms today, that is morally neutral. There's no story. Doesn't mean anything. So that means I get to be like, I can do that. I'll probably not feel well.
Right.
Right. And if I don't, and another layer, if I don't feel well, that's not like punishment from the gods or some shit. Cause I think people get real into like the puritanical, like white supremacist nonsense around like, well, I ate too much and I felt bad. And it's like, okay, sometimes you work your triceps too hard and it hurts.
Yeah.
It's all morally neutral. And
Yeah.
we try to infuse so much morality into it. So my body has infinite permission to be whatever size she wants to be because she's in charge. I am not. I'm very dumb and she is very smart. So she has infinite permission to be what size she wants to be. And I have infinite permission to eat whatever the fuck I want, which in that moment, again, gives me choice. And then I get to choose. What do I want for breakfast? And not, even the intuitive eating folks, I think, can get a little too dogmatic around it, because sometimes you can't, I might be craving like a bacon, egg, and cheese in New York City. I live in Palm Springs, California. Like, I'm not going to go get one.
Right.
I am craving that though. It sounds amazing. But like, I need to just get, because we all just live our lives. We're all just doing the best we can within late stage capitalism, within the fact that all of our food has microplastics in it because of evil corporations. You know what I mean? There's no perfection. Permission is the opposite of perfection. So we do permission, we don't do perfection.
So I love listening to you talk about this.
As I'm talking.
Yeah, it is. It's huge because I talk about permission all the time. And permission was the single greatest thing that
Amen.
got me out of where I was. So I did not have a clinically diagnosed eating disorder, but I had severe disordered eating that was probably like one couple steps shy of something clinical that I never sought out help for until much later on and in many, many different ways. I used to say that I was aware of every single calorie that went
Of
into my
course.
mouth, right?
Right. Which is an eating disorder, by the
Yes, it
way.
totally.
Yes.
But now I talk about, like, in coaching work is giving yourself permission. I talk about it often as giving yourself permission to have more tomorrow, because we're
Love.
so used to the urgency of like, well, today's my only chance because tomorrow I have to
Exactly.
be
I have to
good.
go on a diet.
I have to go
Exactly.
on a diet. And
Right.
when you give yourself the space to realize you can have more tomorrow, you finally, for the first time, realize, well, maybe I don't actually want more today. Maybe I don't even like this. Maybe I'm just eating it because it's my last fucking chance. And tomorrow I have to just eat celery and drink green juice so that I can lose weight.
Gross.
And it's like, people think that that's going to make them gain weight. Well, if I give myself forget it. I will only eat peanut M&Ms all day, every day. And I'm like, but you won't. Maybe you'll do it like one day and you'll be like, I feel like shit. It doesn't feel very good. My stomach hurts and I have no energy. Maybe I'm going to try having some peanut M&Ms tomorrow with like a sandwich or whatever it is.
Exactly.
The fear, because it's like letting go of the control.
Right. Right. And so the psychological piece of this is that, like, every quote unquote overeating, and I put that in quotes because what the hell does that even mean? But anytime there's overeating, it is always the result of prior starvation or the threat of future starvation. No mammal, no sentient beings, quote unquote, overeat unless they have lived through a famine or there's a threat of a future famine. So if you take the famine out of the picture by saying, oh no, there's enough tomorrow. I love that. I tell clients to do that with exercise too. Like, leave some for tomorrow, right? Because people hurt themselves because they're like, what if I never exercise again? Like, the scarcity is a scam made by dead white men. Scarcity is a scam. And the idea of scarcity, it's a concept, it's a social construct. The idea of scarcity makes us insane. So to take it away immediately provides sanity. Immediately we are in the truth. If you let me get woo on you for a second. If we are in the truth of the universe, because the only truth of the universe is infinite abundance. The universe is expanding and it's infinite at the same time. That's abundance, y'all. That is so much abundance. So when we are believing in or even projecting scarcity onto the universe, we are insane. We are the insane ones, and it makes us act in insane ways.
So I think this could be maybe a good segue right into, obviously you taught an entire semester's like worth of content. So we don't have time for that, although I wish we did.
I know. I love it.
Is it possible for you to like share like the top 3 takeaways or insights or the things that you think are most important from that course? That like, so the like people listening, my people who are listening, and the people that you're going to share this with in your community, right, are people like us who have struggled, suffered from a clinically diagnosed eating disorder, some form of disordered eating. I know there's some people would say that disordered eating is the same thing as an eating disorder. We don't have to get into semantics, whatever. But who think about, obsess about, stress out about food and their body, and it takes up an incredible amount of space in their brain and the noise and all of this. And so when people listen, I always hope that they walk away with like just one thing that like resonates, that sticks. And I think that learning about why do we feel this way? Like, we're not born this way. It is taught to us.
Exactly.
Right. This is not like, yes, we can talk about like, generational trauma and how that kind of does get into your DNA. And also like, these are learned behaviors. And I would love to learn more from you about like, why, why did we learn it? What is happening? Where's it coming from? You know what I'm asking.
I mean, I think the most important, it's hard to say the most important, but I'll answer your question this way. This is not the way you asked it, but this is the way I'm going to answer it.
That's
my
fine.
favorite things to teach, my favorite days in class, my favorite little lectures to give were, and you can choose one and we can go down either one. The history of dieting, so fun to teach because I had ads from from like all the diet ads since like the 1920s. Fascinating because, 30 seconds into it, you realize, oh, it's all the fucking same. Same scam, different decade, century of this nonsense. So that was really fun. And especially to see, my favorite thing to look at would be what was happening mostly around women's rights and what the ads were doing, right? So like in the 1920s, all the women were supposed to basically look like boys, right? Like flat chested, what was happening in the 1920s? Well, women got the right to vote. It was the first time the law changed so women could, if women divorced their husbands, they could keep their children. Before 1922, if a woman divorced her husband, she gave up her kids. So at that time, the woman's body had to be really, really small, right? 1930s, actually, they were selling weight gain stuff. Why? Because of the Depression. So you didn't want to look like you were starving, even though everybody was starving. Exactly. Right. Exactly. Meant that you were poor. It's all classism, right? So the poor people were super thin. So again, it's what's happening in the world is, and then it shows up in what a woman's body is supposed to look like, right? The 60s, we have Twiggy, right? Everybody's supposed to, again, look like 12-year-old boys. What happened? Women got birth control. Women are burning their bras. So every time a woman got more power politically, socially, suddenly she's supposed to be skinny. So like Naomi Wolf says, the obsession with female thinness is not about beauty, it's about obedience. Every time women got a little bit more space, expanded politically or socially, immediately, exactly. I mean, what's happening right now?
The correlation between that, the connection between that is right. I mean, right. Like, look who you've got in office.
Exactly.
And, even women's rights that have been taken away, and looking at the trends in our bodies right now,
Yes.
right? It's the connect. I had never made that connection before. It's fascinating.
Really, right? So the sociological lens that you can look through in terms of like the obsession with female thinness and precisely how thin she's supposed to be, right? In the 80s, there was like women started going to work, women started to be CEOs, etc. And then all of a sudden we're supposed to do aerobics all day. That's so interesting. How can a woman do both? She can't, right? This is, so it always gets reflected back in the beauty standards of the day.
And as you're saying that, it's almost like, okay, we're getting more power, more rights, more voice.
Yeah.
And then expected to then be smaller, but it's also like then the energy, I'm trying to like get this thought, that makes us smaller then takes the rights that we just got and also starts to like shrink them down, right? It's like like the give an inch, take a mile, but then pull it back. That's not the right analogy, but like,
no, but it's true.
Here's all these things, but no, you can't really have it. You're going to think, we're going to mind fuck you and think that you have it, but then we're actually going to put all this other shit on you so you can't actually take advantage of the thing that we just gave you. And so things stay the same as they've always been.
Exactly. And it's always about female obedience. It's always about being as a way in which women oppress themselves, right? If we oppress ourselves through starvation, through diet culture, through an obsession with whether or not our thighs touch, they don't have to oppress us as much. They don't have to. They don't have to marginalize us if we marginalize ourselves, which is what we do when we participate in starvation. You can't be sane and starving at the same time. You give yourself the obsession, right? Like starvation creates the obsession with food. Starvation creates obsessive compulsive disorder, if you want to call it that. But it creates the self obsession that you can't get out of your own ears. And I lived through that, right? That like at some point it wasn't a choice anymore. It was quickly not a choice to keep starving or not. I couldn't stop at that point, right? And so they don't have to do it to us if we do it. It's a cult. That's why, I mean, I don't tell everybody this, but I'll tell you this and tell all your listeners this. The way I taught myself how to treat disordered eating, body hatred, is I took trainings on how to help people escape cults.
That's so fascinating.
Diet culture is a cult. Thin worship is a cult. Body fascism is a cult. It is the worship of thinness. It is the worship of something that very few people can attain. And we sign up hook, line, and sinker. And then and like my grandmother, people worship at the altar of thinness until they die. And we can only break free of it by letting go of the idea that that's some sort of holy, sacred thing to be. It's just not. It's just not. Bodies are just different shapes.
I know. It's like two things I want to respond to with what you just shared. One's going to feel a little disjointed, but it
That's
feels
okay.
important. Right? You were just talking a lot about starvation, and you survived anorexia. So you truly were starving yourself. But I also am interpreting, and I want to make this point for people who are listening, that starvation can exist on a spectrum, and you don't have to be actually malnourished to be starving yourself. And any type of like
Thank
food
you for saying that.
restriction is a
Exactly.
form of starvation, right? So I want people
Right.
listening to see themselves reflected and not be like, oh, well, I'm not
Yes.
starving myself, so this doesn't apply to me. No, it applies to you.
No, it does. Oh, it does. No, I'm glad you say that. I'm glad you said that, because I use that word explicitly on purpose, because I
Yes.
want people to hear that word, because to your body, it is starvation. And
Starvation.
perhaps you did
Yes.
not go to treatment for anorexia in 1997, but
Right.
your brain and your body don't know the difference.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
food restriction, not eating enough for your brain to function, is
Mhm.
starvation to your body.
Yes.
Dieting is starvation to your body.
Yes.
Anytime your body eats itself to survive, which is what weight loss is,
Mhm.
your body, that's trauma. That is trauma to your body. I'm glad you made that point.
Yes. So, okay, because you just said a couple other things that make me want to go in different directions. So I'm trying to be like, wow, we're gonna be like
I can
choiceful.
come back. I can come back.
I think we're probably going to have to do that.
Okay.
I'm just going to go there right now because I think it's a good segue. What are your thoughts on? Well, I think this goes hand in hand with the conversation around GLP-1s.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? So you just said something. You just said anytime your body eats itself, which is weight loss, right? Because your body is using stored energy, right? We lose weight when your body is using stored energy rather than energy that you were eating. Food is made up of, well, nutrition, but units of energy, which are calories. Calories are simply units of energy, right? That's like
Correct.
the scientific, factual definition of what a calorie is, not this thing that makes you fat.
Totally.
And I've heard you mention a couple times Lindo Bacon, health at every size. I'm very familiar with all of those. And being upfront, I am also of the mind that if someone wants to lose weight, or I'm even going to say needs to lose weight, right? That's their prerogative. And I'm not saying that you're not saying that at all. I'm curious to hear what are your thoughts on weight loss? What are your thoughts on GLP-1s? Yeah. Let me just keep it simple.
Yeah. So, I mean, I live by the body liberation tenet that everybody gets to do with their body whatever the fuck they want.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way you said earlier, like, also, can we dig in a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
I also believe that, like, I will ask, if a client comes to me and they want to lose weight, great. Tell me what you think weight loss will provide for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
Can you maybe have that right now?
Yes.
And that's the thing. It was like the cult of thinness will tell you that you cannot have that right now.
Right.
And, but I'll say to clients all the time, oh, there are fat people doing that right now. So why can't you? There are people fatter than you doing that right now.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about, like, let's just be lovingly curious is a phrase
I
I
love
use a lot.
that. Lovingly curious.
Let's just be lovingly curious about this. My thoughts on GLP-1s are, it's a very Aquarius view of it, but like, I think I'm not against them at all. I have lots of clients who are on them and who have been helped by them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very curious to see where this train ends.
Same.
Right? I don't think it's going to be pretty when it ends.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for the people who are on them who don't have diabetes or don't have a clinical need to be on them. I think it's going to be really rough.
Yep.
But I feel like I've lived through so many of these now. When I taught my course, we talked a lot about weight loss surgery. I've seen that. Like, I remember fen, y'all. I'm old. So like, I've just seen this happen over and over. And the way I think about it is, isn't it fascinating that capitalism created a problem by telling people that all bodies can and should be the same size, which is fucking insane. So they put generations of people into starvation mode, like starved people, created eating disordered, created obsession with food, created quote unquote food noise, because the only reason you have food noise is because you have you've lived through a famine, you have prior starvation. So capitalism created that. And then capitalism creates the cure for that.
That's how
It's
we
like,
make the money.
exactly. So it's like, like when I teach my class, I teach people that, like, the same company owns Duncan Hines and Jenny Craig. It's the same
I love
thing.
that.
You
I don't
guys,
think I actually knew that, but of course it makes perfect sense.
of course, you guys, it's it's all about money.
Yeah.
So, like, fine. And again, like, I have clients who are on them and they feel great, and most of those people are, have early signs of diabetes, and so it is a medicine for diabetes, and so they feel a lot better on it, and blah blah blah. But so I'm not against it. Again, I just feel like in this job, I have learned to dance with whatever new thing floats down the river, because capitalism will come up with another way to solve a problem that capitalism created.
Yes. Yeah, agreed. I think I agree. We're on the same page about so many things. I talk about curiosity all the time. I love the term lovingly curious because it comes from a place of, I think that curiosity is the opposite of judgment, right?
Exactly.
You said permission is the opposite of perfection.
Yeah.
I have talked about curiosity as the opposite of judgment, but I think adding that lovingly piece in helps, because I think with all of this, it's what's the layer underneath, right? When people come to me and they talk about, it's like, well, why? How is your life going to be different? What's going to be different? And some people will say things like, well, my movement, this hurts, that hurts. I can't reach certain things. I can feel my belly and it's touching my thighs and all these physical things. But then there's also, I've had people come to me and say that, and then a couple months later, they're like, yeah, I actually feel really good now. And I'm like, without any physical changes, right? Because they've learned skills to think about and take care of, and talk to their body in different ways.
Right.
You referenced earlier, kind of in talking about something else. You talked about your body as she, and then you talked about the other part of you, like you're dumb, right?
Yeah.
In a loving kind of way.
Totally.
And that language you use, right? I'll often talk about, like, there's you and then there's your brain, and they're like not the same, right? And your brain is going to try and be a mean girl and boss the shit around you and tell you all this shit. But then you get to decide. And you get to say, I'm not going to listen to that. That's not helpful.
Not helpful.
And it's that there's a conversation, there's a dialogue that needs to be had ongoing.
Yes.
And learning how to respond to all that internal shit, which is, that's the stuff that's taught to us.
Exactly.
Right? That's the cult. That's the cult. The cult's inside your brain.
The cult is inside your brain. I mean, that's what I learned when I did the training. Yeah, the cult is inside your brain. And the way the cult proliferates, the way the cult keeps going is by getting me to abandon ourselves at a very early age.
Yes.
And you cannot abandon your body without abandoning yourself, because she is infinitely loyal. My brain is not infinitely loyal, but my body is infinitely loyal to me. Right. Yes. And she is 100% on my side. She has never betrayed me. She's so nice, even though I have been such a cunt to her. Right. She's so forgiving and loving. So I am infinitely loyal to her. I am not infinitely loyal to my brain, which is just a dumb computer that's been downloaded with all sorts of nonsense without my consent. Yes. So I listen to my body.
Our bodies, like, adapt. We don't even know we take it. They do so much. They keep us, like, it's like, I'm such like a science, like biology, human body nerd.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
And so the way that the body, when people talk about the body's a machine, it's not a fucking machine. That's like literally the opposite of a machine. Exactly. The way a body adapts and responds and keeps you alive until like you take it literally to the ends of the earth.
Exactly.
Is we call it a miracle. It's not a miracle. It's evolution. It's the science of evolution.
It's nature, guys.
Amazing. Exactly. But I love the way you articulated that. Like, your body doesn't, like, yes, there can be physical manifestations of the stuff you're thinking. Absolutely. But your body still adapts and it keeps you going. Exactly. And all we do is, like, rip it apart, and you're disgusting and you're fat and you're gross and you're ugly and all this shit. And it's like, you wouldn't be able to like read a book or eat a piece of food or listen to music or do a
Oh my
single fucking
God.
thing
Totally.
without that body that you fucking hate so much.
And yeah, right?
And I just like, it's like, and I kind of want to like circle this back to, well, how do you get that kind of stuff to show up for people? Like, how do
Yeah.
you, like you said, the thing that got me out of all of the disordered eating and the disordered thinking about my body, right, was
Yeah.
recognizing, was pulling myself, thinking about it in terms of like, this is a cult, right? And
Yeah.
all the things that I just said, someone's not like thinking about that in like their day-to-day life when they're like,
Right.
oh, I really want to have a fucking sandwich for lunch, but I better just have a salad.
Yeah.
So where I'm like kind of going with this is, how do you take these like deep emotional and sociological and political and just these
Yeah.
really, I mean, ingrained concepts and
Yeah.
constructs
Yeah.
and make them like practical and actionable for like everyday life to actually start to make, because I'm thinking of the person who's listening who's like in the thick of all this
Yeah.
and is like, but isn't seeking out a therapist or a coach or support in any way. It's just on TikTok.
Great.
Anyway, so
Fantastic.
you know, you hear my question.
So this is the answer that I always give that people don't see coming is the thing that got me out was seething rage.
Mm-hmm.
Because rage is as Julie Cameron says in The Artist's Way, it's not your nicest friend, but she's your most loyal friend. And rage is fire and it burns down the unnecessary. And if you follow the rage, I know that we're taught, I mean, the fact that you're taught to hate your body and hate your rage is the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all patriarchal, white supremacist nonsense. So you abandoning yourself, abandoning your body, and abandoning your rage, those are all the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so the cult needs you to abandon yourself. The cult needs you to turn the rage on yourself, on your body, instead of where it's supposed to go, which is out at every single system, institution, and person who taught you to abandon yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When I needed, I mean, this is decades of work, but I needed to get out. Like I was done. I was bored. And I hope the people that listen to your podcast, they know this feeling of like being so fucking bored with myself, being so bored with the like, well, maybe tomorrow I'll go to the gym longer. And maybe it's like, you guys, it's so boring. It's so boring. It's so dumb. Like nobody, like that's not a life. It's not a life, And so you take the rage. Maybe you can't feel it for yourself, but one of the tricks I did was, after I read The Body Is Not an Apology by Sonia Renee Taylor, God bless, goddess, amazing, incredible, brilliant woman. And and the way she articulated the hierarchy of bodies and the way she articulated, that like, if we believe in the cult, then we believe that a white, straight, cis, skinny male is the top of the ladder and we're all underneath it. Then I started to think about the fact that when I hate my belly, I hate all bellies fatter than mine, browner than mine, more trans than mine, more poor than mine, right? Like I'm participating in the oppression of everybody underneath me on this imaginary collective delusion of hierarchy of bodies. And I will not fucking do that. And I started getting mad at the system instead of myself. The system that taught me that there are hierarchy of humans based on something as arbitrary as body shape. And the rage pulled me through. It pulled me out. And in the same way that you're, like you were saying earlier, that if you give permission to, the peanut M&Ms, you'll just eat peanut M&Ms until you die. You won't, I promise. And I know you feel like if you give permission for the rage to bubble up, that you will just be rageful until you die and you will hurt people and blah, blah, blah. No, you won't. Again, the rage is real, but she doesn't want to hurt anyone. She just wants you out of the delusion. She wants you out of the self-loathing. She wants you out. She is your friend. She wants you to stop hating yourself. She wants you to stop thinking about how much your body's gravitational pull to the earth. What a fucking dumb thing to think about. She wants you to stop thinking about that and go to Portugal. That's what she wants. She's like, girl, come on.
I love that idea of like redirecting the rage from hating yourself to hating the thing that made you hate yourself.
Exactly.
And that's
That's
like,
where it
that
goes.
goes back to the conversation around like the Botox and, oh, this makes me happy. Well,
Exactly.
why does it make you happy? Where
Exactly.
this came from somewhere.
Exactly.
And it's like, I think I've seen people kind of talk about this, like women are under so much pressure. They're doing the best they can. Yes. And it's like, do you follow Sharon Says So?
I don't think
She's a
so.
government teacher. She's not in this space at all. She's just brilliant. She's a government teacher and just she blew up during which I guess maybe it was the first Trump election. I don't know. Anyway, she talks about this idea that one person can make a change, right?
Yeah.
And so I think I thought of her because I think this comes back to it's like, well, and I think of like the Gandhi quote, be the change you wish to see in the world.
Exactly.
I'm getting to a point here. I took a picture of, so my stomach has always been my thing. That's where, because I have had PCOS. I genetically, my body is designed to carry weight in my stomach.
Yeah.
I grew up, we're 4 years apart. So I grew up in the 90s. None of my friends had bellies rolling over their bikinis, the whole thing, right?
Sure.
So I still have a stomach. It's taken me a long time. I've done the work. I wear a 2-piece. I do all the things. And I
Get
took a
it.
picture of myself a couple years ago at the beach, and I share a lot of content like that of like my body in its form of
Great.
like I'm sitting on a beach chair and this is my stomach is like a round mound of belly.
Yeah.
And I remember writing this caption and it still like sticks with me. If you want to see more women with bellies on the beach, you need to be a woman with her belly on the beach.
Amen.
You can't sit there and say that you're pissed off that all these
Yes.
women in Hollywood are looking skeletal and getting facelifts and doing all these things.
Yeah.
When you're doing the same thing. And that sounds judgmental. It's not
No.
judgmental because I get that
it.
there's so much pressure, but there also has to be a reality check of, are you living
Right.
in, what are you living in alignment with here? And like, what,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like it sounds
Yes.
judgmental because I struggle with it too. I wear makeup, I get my hair cut, I get my nails done. I do all of these things.
Sure.
I had a nose job when I was 16, which I've talked about a million times.
Yeah.
Because I was severely bullied in middle school and whatever, all these things. And
Yep.
also, I have a 14-year-old son.
Yeah.
And I want him to see this is what a body looks like. This is what it looks like to eat ice cream every day on vacation. There's like all these
Yes.
things. And I think that we are losing sight of, we want this world, like women who have daughters, like I want my daughter to love her body and I want her to grow up in this world where she feels accepted and wonderful. But I'm just going to go get my laser and my Botox and my thing and like do that because they're so uncomfortable. And I get that. And it's just, it's these two things are true at the same
Yes.
time. And it's like,
They are
how do
true
we
at the same time.
reconcile that? This is the stuff I think about.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I think you're explaining that pressure point so well. And I think, and for me, the way I get past it or the way I live in that space, excuse me, is the rage just helps me. The rage, you know, if I live in Palm Springs, California. It's going to be 117 degrees today. We are in the pool all day long, all the time. It's, you know, I look in the mirror in my bathing suit or whatever, and I use the rage. I'm like, absolutely, I will not hate this body. I am more loyal to this fucking body than I am to anyone, you know, and then it gets kind of fun. Then you can play. It's like playful. Then you can get, you know, I remember the first time I was in, because I lived in Washington, D.C., obviously for a long time. And the first time I remember this moment. I was walking down the street, looked at myself. You know, I'm in the city, so looked at myself in the glass windows, and I had this really fun thought of like, this is what my body fucking looks like. If anybody has a fucking problem with it, you know, it's like, come on, be your own cheerleader.
Yeah.
And when we go, and again, not from a judgmental way, like you're saying it, not from a judgmental way, but when we oppress ourselves, they don't have to oppress us.
Right.
When we do it to ourselves, I want them to work really hard to try to oppress me. Try it.
Test me.
just try it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just like, it's hard because I think we also have to get rid of, and this is what I learned from my training of helping people get out of cults, like the thoughts are going to be there. And it's okay that they're there. Don't be mad at yourself because they're there, right?
Yes.
If you grew up in Mormonism, you might be a 55-year-old lady and you might have a Mormon thought float through your brain. Okay, it doesn't mean anything, right? To just let the thought be there.
Yes.
But we act ourselves into right thinking.
Yeah.
That's from 12 steps, right? You can't wait for your brain to say, it's like you just said, the mother who's like, I want my daughter to grow up loving her body. Ooh, sorry, girl. Then you have to be that.
Yes.
You have to be the exact, you have to act it. You can't wait for your brain to say, my belly is super cute. You have to go act it out.
Yes.
Be a person who thinks their body is cute in the world. And then your brain will follow along. Again, your brain is real dumb. Don't let it be the leader.
Yeah, it gets pushed around like really easily and believes like anything that you let it. And then it's like up to you. Just because you think a thought doesn't mean A, that it's true, or B, that you have to listen to it.
No.
And it's like, okay, well, that opens up a whole lot of doors. Then I have permission now.
Exactly.
Right? I have choices now when I don't have to listen to my brain saying, oh, you don't have the body for that. You can't wear a sleeveless shirt. You have bat wing arms. You can't wear a bathing suit because you've got cellulite and you've got varicose veins all over your legs. Like,
who do you want to be?
Yeah.
Who do you want to be in this world? Who do you want to be? This is your one wild and precious life. What do you want to be? Who do you want to be? You get to be it. Don't wait for somebody else to give you permission. You give it to yourself.
Do you have more time or no?
I do, yeah.
Okay. That would have been like a perfect place to wrap up, but I have this burning question in my head. I'm like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't wrap up.
Okay.
And it's around the perimenopause craze.
Yeah.
You're 50. Okay.
I
right.
am.
So I don't know where you are at in your journey, but you're in the age demographic.
I'm in it. Yep.
As am I, right? At 46. And the big thing, right? Perimenopause has gotten just a lot more attention, awareness, which is wonderful.
Thanks,
right?
Gen X.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think alongside that, right, it's the bodies are changing, but I say biographically, biologically, right? There are weight shifts, there's weight gain, there are hormonal changes happening that are changing the way your body stores fat, right? And so the big thing is now I've gained this weight.
Yeah.
I feel like a stranger in my own body. I'm eating the same way as I always did. And now I've gained 10, 20, 30 pounds all in my stomach. I don't know what to do. I need to lose it. I need to fix it. And I was curious. I wanted to get your thoughts, both as a 50-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Going through wherever you are in this and however, because it impacts everyone differently. And then also from like the bigger cultural standpoint around it's another thing that needs to be fixed. And it's the supplements and it's GLP-1s for that. And it's trainers who are do this perimenopausal fat loss plan thing. And it's another problem to be fixed. And yes, there are certain symptoms and things that feel terrible and need to be addressed. This is not me saying you need to just like, pull up by your bootstraps and survive it.
No.
Anyway, curious to hear your thoughts.
I mean, I think a couple things. One, I always say this, like, ask your great-great-grandmother if your belly is too big. Ask her if she, right? Like, come on. Whenever it's everything that we get from capitalism is always a double-edged sword. So thank you, Drew Barrymore and Naomi Watts, for acknowledging that menopause exists. However, your body is not a problem to be fixed. There is nothing wrong with her. In the same way, because all menopause is puberty in reverse.
Reverse, yes.
So if you think that your body should be the same shape when you're 10 as when you're 14, then you think your body should be the same shape when you're 39 as when you're 55. And that's fucking dumb. Again, anytime you are fighting with nature, you are dumb. We are dumb. Like nature knows what she's doing.
Yes.
Like look out your window. Is the tree the wrong shape? Right. No, there's no such thing as a wrong shaped tree. A tree is just the shape that it is, Right. And all the bodies, again, like I trust her more than I trust, BMI charts. I mean, I'm sure if you've talked about BMI on here, but like, I don't believe I'm not an anti-vaxxer. Like I don't believe in Western medicine kind of gal, but we have to be lovingly suspicious of a industry that is run by money, and so if there's money to be made, to tell specifically a woman that there's something wrong with her body that needs to be fixed, then they will tell us that. They will convince us of that. So to be, again, like within my own journey of perimenopause, I do take hormones. I'm on the patch because it makes me feel better. It makes me feel like I can wake up in the morning. It's delightful. But, but I don't think my body is the wrong shape. My body has never been the wrong shape, except when I was, I was starving it to death. That's the only time it was the wrong shape.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that like the thing that you keep coming back to, which is like really hitting home for me, right, is your body is nature. And
it's nature.
I come at that from like a scientific standpoint. It's evolution. It evolved over millions of fucking years in a complex way that your brain can't even fathom. And you're trying to like beat that. You're trying to like game the system over that. Are you kidding me? No. Right? Like the complexities of where like how our endocrine system works and how your heart beats and how the body heals after you cut yourself open for surgery or break a bone in half. You can't even begin to like play with that. But it's like but then we're telling, oh, that's wrong. That's wrong. That's wrong.
Insane.
And I think that's such an interesting, like, that feels really grounding to me. Because it's like you come back to what your body can do. And I talk about like what your body allows you to do, right? To see things and feel things and touch things and taste things and hear things and listen to like your favorite music and dance and read the best book you've ever read, to listen to a brilliant class and a speaker and all these things. And it's like, you're saying that the thing that lets you do all that is gross and disgusting and hideous and wrong and needs to be punished and changed, like all of these things. And it's like, when you think about it like that, it's like, oh,
it's insane.
There's no way to like fight back against that.
Exactly. Exactly.
But coming back to that and doing that work over and over and over and over and over and over again.
Right.
Is the thing. And that's hard.
It is hard. And it's hard. I mean, it's hard and it's not hard. The thing I say to clients so often is like, this work is hard, but it's also easy because what we're doing, which you will appreciate as a yoga teacher, is like you are releasing the unnecessary, which is what my mom called yoga, right? We're again, like a computer. Your brain was downloaded with all this malware, all this, fucked up nonsense. And we're just letting go of it because we're going back to our default settings. We're going back to our essential vibration, as we say in psychic healing. When you were born, you thought your body was amazing. Like have you seen a toddler, like, figure out how to walk or whatever? Like you were really into it. You really thought it was so great. Yeah. So we're just going back to the default settings of like, oh no, there's nothing wrong with my body.
Yeah.
I mean, if there is something wrong, you go to the doctor and you figure out, but like, there's nothing wrong with it. It is not, again, you can't extricate diet culture and fat phobia and thin worship from capitalism and patriarchy, because capitalism, patriarchy, colonialism is the worship of the domination of nature, the worship of the domination of anything organic, natural, feminine, right? So it's all the same thing. It's like I say to clients, it's the same song, different lyrics, right? Like it's all the same thing, that nature is something that we dominate rather than respect. And we're doing it on an individual level when we hate our bodies, and we're doing it on a huge level when we, put up data centers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This has been awesome. Oh my gosh. Maybe like one of the most fun conversations I've truly ever had. I just feel like I learned so much from you, and you were just so fun to talk to and learn from. And I would totally love to have you on again, because I would love to do more about just what we were talking about now and really diving more. I'm just fascinated by it, right? To really understand more. Why? How did this happen to us? Like, I could almost start to cry. Like, how did this happen to us?
It's heartbreaking.
Why do we live like this? And what do we do about it? Which we talked a lot about. But we didn't talk at all about social media. Oh my God, didn't even come once. Which is kind of actually amazing, right? And what is the role, and how do we like future generations? And I don't know if you have kids. I have a kid. Even if you don't have kids, you've got kids in your life. Like, what are we doing for them? How is this going to impact them? Where are like the pivot points? So can we do another one?
Of course we can. Okay. I'd love to come back. Sure.